Well, hello there, everyone, and how are you guys on this very beautiful, hot day? Well, hopefully it is not too hot where you are, but it is blazing heat over here since summer has started on the East Coast. So, with that being said, I am here to do a reading today on both Jisoo and Rose's friendship with each other. Now, I had a few people in the past ask me to do a reading on Jisoo and Rose's friendship in the past. However, I was not willing to read on Rose at the time. But now that I have seen Rose, now that I've seen Rose a little bit more often, seeing pictures and videos of her, and I talked about her again to talk about her health, I feel as though I am now ready to do a reading on Rose and Jisoo's friendship. What can I say? I could understand why you guys do ask that, because when I look at Rose's Instagram or TikTok, I do not see Jisoo on there as much. You mostly see Jenny and you mostly see Lisa. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that one, to be exact, but let's see what is going on. Today I am using my brand new cards that Mama Crone has bought me. They're right here. So they're like right here, so they look nice on the back. So I'm going to be using these cards today to do the reading for Jisoo and Rose. So, okay. I had to think how I'm going to do this. All right, so I'm going to pick two cards to represent them. Okay, well, this is interesting. I'm just going to lay some more cards. Well, interestingly enough, Mama Crone had helped me a little bit, and it's almost the same story, but with completely different cards, because we had actually used the 78 Wyatt Tarot deck, and now I'm using the Kipper that only has 36 cards, and it's more people perfect. Picture perfect people. That came out wrong, but with that being said, I see that, interestingly enough, Jisoo. Okay. Well, they can't say the main male represents. Okay. So, maybe I'm just going to have to. Okay. Hold up. Because this main male cannot represent a male, represent masculine energy, so therefore this cannot represent Jisoo. So therefore I'm just going to look through the cards and find the privileged woman and put her there, because right down here we have the main female, and that's going to be Rose. So therefore, because they're friends, the female companion to the main female is the privileged woman. So let me find her. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Now, what do I see here? Who knows? Maybe we'll just put that male there too. We could see that right now maybe Jisoo is or is not in a relationship, or she could be meeting somebody, because this was supposed to represent Jisoo, but the main male cannot represent masculine energy. So therefore, Jisoo is this rich woman, which literally just I mean, it could also mean that too, but it just represents being a companion or friends with our main female, who happens to be Rose. It could have been the other way around, but the way the cards are looking, I can figure out which one is Rose off the bat. So right here we have, well, right here, I'm trying to figure out how to read these cards right here for a second. So right here we have Jisoo, and these cards are directional. And Jisoo, even though I'm not sure if you guys can really see it, but she's looking in this direction, and in this direction is a funeral card, which doesn't always have to symbolize that. It just means something is coming to an end, and maybe it could be their friendship. Maybe at this point or moment in time, they are currently not seeing eye to eye. Jisoo could be doing her thing, and Rose is doing her thing, because we know Rose is definitely all about, I see her all the time doing business deals, posing for photography, posing for magazines, filming music videos, signing with the Black Label, which is a subgroup to YG. So she therefore has her music company that she is signed to and is making music in the works. So that's what Rose is focusing on. Work, 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 making that music. And then we have Jisoo over here living her life. Maybe she could have a significant other or somebody that she has in her life. But we see that she's looking back at her friend, maybe looking at how the time has passed. I mean, like, how long has Blackpink really been disbanded? Like 1, 2 years maybe? I mean, they're not even disbanded. We'll see how they come back together next year. As you can tell, I really do not have hopes for their company, YG, to really promote Blackpink like they say they're going to promote them. Which is why I think the girls are off doing their own solo things at the moment. But Jisoo could be looking back at the friendship that she did once have with Rose, and maybe now it's different with this time and distance. They're doing their own thing, doing their own solo career. So she could be reminiscing and thinking about Rose, and Rose could be feeling the same way. However, in front of Rose, we have short illness, which I'm not going to lie, I do read through her comments, and people are commenting on her weight, and it's very concerned about her weight. And it wasn't until Lady Crone pointed it out to me that she wears baggy clothes. So if you just look at how baggy she looks when she wears clothes, it was always covering up. She's in Paris, dressing like, I don't want to say like it's winter, but dressing as if she has something to hide. And when even she posts pictures of herself, she won't show you anything below the kneecaps or even halfway down her thigh. And they also have to have clothes that just happens to cover her in conspicuous ways where you really can't see that she is losing a certain amount of weight. All that to be said, this is what is facing Rose in the future. Maybe she could, who knows, with all this traveling, she could catch a cold. Maybe she could catch a flu. Who knows? Maybe she could eat something and get sick. There's many ways that she could possibly get sick that does not have to do with the fact that she is losing weight, or it could just be that there are many things that Rose could have happen to her that makes her lose weight, not lose weight, but maybe not be able to have the amount of weight to help fight off a virus or bug if she still happens to get one. And also, who knows if she can even hold down food, because even when she posts pictures of food, you never see her eating it, or it doesn't even look like there's bites taken out of it. Now, that's a lot of hypothesizing, and remember, everything I do say is allegedly. However, why do I feel this? I feel when I look down below this short illness, we have the main female, which represents Rose. So therefore, she's not even the main character. And that actually kind of goes fitting because, I mean, she is the main character, but this card represented her, and this is where she is. she's more on the ground level and not much on a like this is represents the bottom and then this represents the top. So because of that, what I see with Rose is at the moment the funeral and the change card is right there. So maybe something, now that she's her own solo artist at this point in time, she has maybe broken free in that sense and is now ready to be her most authentic self and make the music that she chooses and desires to. So she's putting all the energy and all that she can and giving her best, her 100% for this music comeback when she does her own solo career. And because of that, she now has it that represents a change in her life, a change that her friend Jisoo happens to see and is looking at this. But what is above Rose, her literal self, is the short illness. So maybe she is weary and is always on alert about how she looks. Like we said, I'm trying to dance around the bush, but it just always seems to bring me back here. And I just wish it didn't have to be this. Remember, everything I do say is allegedly. But we see short illness, so she's always concerned if she's going to have enough energy, if she's getting enough, getting enough rest. Just that can also too make you feel fatigued too, on top of not eating. And maybe she has problems sleeping too. But what I see in front of, remember how I said she's looking in this direction? So this will be her future, not her future, but what's in front of her and what she's looking at, which is Rose. And what she's looking at behind her, like I said, maybe a reminiscent. What's behind her is this long road or a journey or going the distance somewhere. She has done so much and she has accomplished so much. Because right here, right underneath of what she's accomplished a marriage, which basically means a union and coming together with the Blackpink girls. And she really maybe cherishes and values their friendship. And so that's why maybe she could be keeping an eye on Rose. Who knows? I'm not sure. Jisoo seems to be pretty quiet. I'm not sure if Jisoo's just sticking to Korea while the rest of the girls are traveling. But I do notice that Rose doesn't post pictures of her hanging out with Jisoo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have yet to see it within the last month that I've been looking at Rose's Instagram and TikTok. So with that, maybe I'm not going to say that Jisoo feels left out, but this long road could symbolize the journey that they came together, and now she sees the group dissolving in a sense, and she really felt home and comfort is right above her head. This home and comfort symbolized that she felt home with Blackpink. She loved the union that they had. They're always going to have a special place, and they're all three of those girls are going to have a special place in her heart. Maybe even Rose, even a little bit more, because this reading is specifically on Rose and Jisoo's friendship. But maybe at this time, because they aren't really lining up and doing two different things at the moment, they can't really, maybe they really don't have the time to nurture their friendship. And not that Rose would ever be jealous to see Rose hang out. It's not like Jisoo would ever be jealous of Rose hanging out with the rest of the girls without her. But maybe just the fact that she misses how it just used to be the the four of them, and now it just seems to be one of them or two of them. It's just not the same anymore. And that's what, and in her past, she could have been like in her thoughts thinking about what's going to happen to us when we go and do our own solo thing. She was all up in her head, worried about what's going to happen to the group. because even though at the bottom they've accomplished so much, this represents the present. This is the pleasant letter, and this is underneath her in the past. So therefore, she had accomplished accolades and positive messages. She could have even heard about signing a contract, and maybe on top of that, she could have been worried or concerned and not sure if this contract or message was going to be well received. But maybe that could also go back to speaking of Rose and Jisoo's friendship. Maybe that's what Jisoo could have been concerned about. If we go separate and do our own solos, how are we going to have the time to meet up, be like good old times? I'm glad everybody is doing their own thing and we're getting to live our lives and enjoy our music, but also at the same time, what about Blackpink? Basically, you know, these girls have known each other basically all their lives. It feels like at this point, it's a little over exaggeration, for at least a decade now. So because of that, that is a lot, and just for y'all to disperse literally across the world is impressive. But what I see with Jisoo, not Jisoo, but what I see with Rose is we have this small child which is looking in the direction of the house, and this was for Rose and this is for Jisoo. Jisoo was thinking about how Blackpink was home, and Rose could be feeling the same way, looking back at just like Jisoo's looking back at Rose in the way the cards are looking at Jisoo. Rose is thinking about Jisoo and what Blackpink used to mean. Maybe they miss Blackpink, and that's, even though they could be doing their own thing, and they've had solo songs when they were with Blackpink, but just the fact that they are kind of doing their own thing, taking charge of their career at the moment, is a huge change up for them. And I'm not really sure how close Jisoo and Rose were, but if they weren't maybe as close, but there's so many people asking for their friendship, so I assume they must have been very close for them to go their separate ways. That could also, signify a little bit about maybe some people's priorities aren't in the right place. I mean, Rose loves her fans and all, but you got to think about sometime. I'm not sure if Rose has talked about how she can get so engrossed in wanting things to be perfect before she can present it to us. But I think I heard that in an interview a while ago, but that was over 4 years ago. I heard something like that. But if that's the way Rose feels, maybe she could be drilling and being a little bit harder on herself, and maybe Jisoo knows this and could be like looking and being concerned about her friend and about Blackpink's future also in the sense too. Because if one of the members get ill right before 2025, maybe, how is Blackpink going to be able to do Blackpink? They can't just go on without Rose. That would feel like insensitive to them, because that's like their family member health is not 100. How could they promote songs and then not? Maybe one of them sings her verse, so they just completely cut her verse out at all. What about promotions? All of that. Even that weighs and strains on them. And then Blackpink also came off of a whole year-long tour. And now the girls are just really, you don't see them putting out music or promoting. Why is that? Because they are taking their time to chill at the moment and live their life while also making the music that they want to make. But at the same time, they're taking their time like, listen, we just coasting right now. We've been touring for so long. I just want to enjoy life, explore, get all these brand deals, do all these promotional gigs. Instead of making music, do maybe things that has to deal with my image, and maybe even do speeches, but just do something other than singing and practicing and doing the most after this year-long tour. So they're kind of just like, whew, That's how they're feeling and taking their time right now. So and maybe that's what Rose is, and maybe Rose's just not the member that's doing that. She's just keep doing the grind. And because of that, maybe Jisoo could just have a little bit of concern about how hard her friend is going. And maybe that's why they also don't have time to see each other, because their schedules could just not even align with each other either as nicely as Jenny and Lisa's schedules could. Who knows? Maybe because they're all doing different things and traveling in all different kinds of places. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading on Jisoo and Rose's friendship. It seems like Jisoo is concerned for Rose and her working and wanting to basically, wait, I forgot to say, there was this one last card that I forgot to talk about, which was the gift card, which is basically Rose wants to present her music and present her style. We got a little bit of it with it in black paint, but she didn't have the creative freedom like she wanted. And now that these girls are getting older, they can have maybe a little bit more say, and with that, they could be changing the tides of how record companies work with their, at least with their older idols, if they so choose to stay in the business that long. But Blackpink just happens to be lucky, among some other groups as well. But because of that, Rose just really hopes she can present her best to the world, and because of that, that could be weighing her down. And Jisoo, as being as close as a friend she could be to Rose, could be seeing that from the distance, but cannot do anything because of how their careers and schedules are lining up. But that doesn't mean Jisoo doesn't have her eye on Rose, and doesn't mean that she's not in communication with Rose just because you don't see her publicly hanging out with Rose. That doesn't mean that they aren't having conversations or texts if they can make it, just like short little conversations, or just like a check-in, and then like you'll read it like a few days later if you got the time, and then do a little response, things like that when you have such busy and hectic schedules. And so Jisoo is still looking out for her friend, even though they are out doing their own thing and having their own grand time at this moment. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading with Jisoo and Rose. With that being said, sunflowers.